different influences. One of the things that became sort of the main characteristic of drum and bass music and jungle music specifically is that the rhythms are very syncopated. They have like these snare drum displacements, the bass drums also appear in weird places, and they also have that always that attempt to really emulate an electronic sound. So for example, like the hi-hats wouldn't typically be played in a kind of a rock fashion like there. It's more like what a drum machine would play. That sort of flat, very sort of sound. They use a lot of sound effects. We'll talk about that more in depth in the third session. How to kind of create electronic sounds using a normal drum set. But yeah, so let's get to the playing. The first exercise we'll do is the first exercise on that photocopy. It's a simple sort of funk groove if played at funk tempo, but then it can be a drum and bass groove if we crank up the tempo. Now, the tempos that we are looking at in order to play those patterns as drum and bass grooves would be something between 150 and 200 BPM. Okay? Before that, it sounds more like you're just playing a funk groove, which is fair enough. I'm not saying that we're gonna do 200 today, but I'm just, if drum and bass is the goal, yeah, you gotta drink a lot of coffee and practice a lot. Okay, so number one, simple. Bass drum at beat 1, snare, or the accents on the snare will be on 2 and 4. Then there's 2 ghost notes on the of 2 and the E of 3, and then a bass drum at the end of 3. Okay? Now it's really important, again, just to keep the context of this month's topic in mind, that we really get that sort of nice, soft, but also flat hi-hat sound. So it's not this, it's not this, right? This. Rim shots to play those accents. Ghost notes, very soft. Bass drum, also nice and beefy. Again, think electronic music, right? The bass drum leads the way. We gotta make sure it's not that, but that. Okay? Questions so far? Let's do it. Oh, give me just 1 minute. I gotta go get my. And the T and the 4E and the 1E and the 2E and the T and the 4E and the 1E and the 2E and the T and the 4E and the. All right, so 1, 2, 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1, 2, 3 and 4. Uh, 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 mm, uh. Hi-hats nice and low. And last tempo, 80, 80. 1, 2, 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2. Uh. Two, three, four, and 1. All right. Okay, like I said, in order for this to sound more like a drum bass groove, we should be touching this tempo between 150 and 200. This is 170. Okay, so we have. See the hi-hat? It's actually more difficult to play a hi-hat flat like that when it's fast than this, for obvious reasons. That sort of motion is a bit more momentum friendly, right? It's that sort of rocking motion of the wrist. You feel yourself galloping. When it's just t, uses just the same muscle group over and over again, can be a bit tiring. All right, anyway, moving on. We'll do now drum beat number 4. We won't do all of them, obviously. Number 4. It looks pretty much like the same, but not. The very last note, right? That snare drum is not on 4 anymore. It's at the end of 4. Everything else is exactly the same, right? It's just the one note that's been displaced, which again, like I said, it's a common characteristic of drum and bass music. Okay, so I'll give you guys a couple minutes for you to work that out. Questions before we do it together? No? All right, here we go. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 ta, One, 2, 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 ta ba 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 ta ba ba ta 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 da 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 da. Beautiful. One last tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. boom, boom. Pretty good. That was 100 BPM. All right. Next one. Let's do number 5. Number 5 is an interesting one as well because once again the snare drum appears displaced, but not forward, but backwards. And then there's a bass drum at beat 4 just to make it even more annoying. And there's no bass drum at beat 1 either. It's just basically a headache in a bar. Sta-tum-pa, sta-pum-pa, pum. Sta-tum-pa, sta-pum-pa, pum. Sta-tum-pa, sta-pum-pa, pum. So it's a very kind of sort of backwardsy sort of drum beat. It almost feels like it's going in reverse. Once again, think about it. It's reverse engineering electronics. So a lot of these drum beats will literally feel like someone just played the tape in reverse. And that's on purpose. Like these are drummers trying to come up with creative ways to kind of again imitate and emulate the sort of thing that you could only do with a computer. I find it interesting. I find it really interesting. It really opened up the door to a lot of creativity and more textural, less pattern oriented and more texture oriented sort of drumming. Right? You're trying to achieve a certain sound, and some of these things are not gimmicks, but they are tricks. Right, that's how I look at them. It's a bit of trickery, like you're trying to create an echo sound, for example. Again, I'm going to get into depth. The third session will be all about sounds and how to get them out of a drum set, like electronic sounds. But like if you want to get an echo, like that idea of you're hearing a groove, boom, right? You can do that with your hands, right? It's dynamic. Pushes the delay button. You can do that with single. Reverse it. A lot of cool stuff that we can do on a drum set. Anyway. All right, number 5. Any questions? This one is a little bit tricky, so I suggest that we take it maybe one chunk at a time. We'll keep the hi-hats going, but we'll play the first, say, 3 notes, which would be snare, bass drum, and then the first accent on the snare. Right, 3E and the 4E and the 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4E and the 3E and the 4E and the 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4E and the 3E and the 4E and the ch-ta-toom that. The other way around. you're doing snare hi-hat. Hi-hat snare. What's your timing though? 1 E and a 2. 1 E and a 2, right? Let's try that again. We'll just keep on doing that until everyone's comfortable. 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a da. Let's bass drum. On the end of 1. 1 E and 2. 1 E and 2. End of 2. End of 1, sorry. 3, 4, 1 E and 1 E and 2. 3 and 4 E and the 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the 1, 2, boom. E and the 4 E and the da doom da. Alright, let's add the next ghost note. Bass drum as well. One E and a 2 E and a 3. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4. Da doom bop, da doom tap. Da doom tap, da doom tap. Boom bop da doom bop boom da doom bop da boom bop boom bop boom bop boom bop boom. Bass drums. Bop boom da doom da da boom bop boom bop boom bop bop boom bop boom. Da dum da da dum ba boom. Da dum da da dum da dum. Da dum da ba boom ba boom. Okay, we'll do that to the click. But that's a fun little groove to use almost like as a fill, as a break. So you could be playing, let's say. Do you see what I'm saying? So I played 3 bars of number 4, and then I used number 5 as a drum fill, as a break. Not a drum fill, but a break. Which actually sets up the next session. Next week will be all about 2-bar grooves. We'll be combining 1 with 4 and 3 with 17. Okay. All right. So number 5. With the click. 1, 2, 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the ch-ta-toon ch-ta-toon ta-boom. Boom. Boom. Yeah. Boom. Ba boom bop ba boom bop boom ba boom bop ba boom bop boom da boom bop ba boom bop boom da boom. Not on one. Keep going. Da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. Ba-boom. 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 Bass. Boom, ba-boom. Okay. We won't speed that one up. Instead, we'll move down to number 7. Number 7 has 3 snare drums, all of them accents. End of 1, 2, and 4. Bass drum at 1 and the O of 1, and then end of 3. 3 snares, 3 bass drums. Questions? No, we're all good. Okay, so let's give it a go. 1, 2, 3 and the 4 and the 1 and 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the boom, bop, bop. Good. Yep. Yeah. All right, with a click. 1, 2, 3 and the 4 and the. Boom, boom, bop, bop, boom, bop, boom, bop, bop, boom, bop, boom, bop, bop. Was 100. Last but not least, we'll take a look at number 10. Number 10, not very difficult. The only thing that is slightly different than usual is that all the snares are accents. And again, I remind you that we want to keep those hi-hats nice and low, right? Not. Which, of course, opposed to those accents on the snare drum, makes it even more difficult. Right? We're playing a lot of syncopated snares there, all of them being accents. So yeah, take your time, of course, then at home to manage those volumes between right hand and left hand in order to excuse me, in order to arrange the soundscape, so it's not just the right notes, but the right notes played the right way. Not like that. In front of your right. We don't do that. Okay, so for everyone, we don't do this. This is not a composition. The fact, I understand the logic behind it. The left is big, the right is small, so let me do this. So the left can work over here. This. This is not confident. You bring the right in, not out. And then the left can work in front of you. Okay. All right, so number 10. The pattern itself is fairly straightforward, right? Sorry. That's the pattern. It's nothing very fancy. Once again, I sort of circled that one because I found the fact that all the snares are accents interesting. But in terms of coordination, it's not really all that challenging, I believe. Okay? One E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the... and the. Yeah. And that's number 10. Okay, so like I said, next week the focus will be on 2-bar grooves. So, for example, you can, although we won't be using necessarily these patterns, maybe some of the 2-bar grooves that we'll work on will include some of these, or at least one of these patterns. Do try at home to, for example, combine number 1 with number 2, right, and create a 2-bar loop. So that would be. That's 1 and 2, and then you can try, I don't know, 1 and 4. That's a cool one. And so on, right? You can experiment by you're gonna create your own drum beats by bringing 2, and it can be completely random, but 2 bars, and create your own 2-bar groove in preparation for next week. Dying, man. Got a nasty cold. Oh, my chest is on fire still. I was already ill on Wednesday, wasn't I? Jesus, it's lasting forever. Usually one day and I'm done, but it's kicking my butt. It really is. I blame my son. One of the patterns that we'll play next week, I can play the first one as a teaser. It's not there. Of 1 and 4, but not quite, because the second bar doesn't have a version of each one. So there's a bunch of that stuff combined into 2 bars. The other one that we'll do next week is. That. The other one that we'll play, this is a cool one. The fourth one would be. next week's episode.